So Lennox, I'm aware you were brought up by your mother, and I was wondering how influential was Muhammad Ali on you as someone growing up, getting into boxing. Did you perceive him as someone like a father in your life?
Well, not as a father. I would say he's a father of boxing.
Yeah.
And he definitely was a character and a different type of boxer than we're used to. He's loud and he was a poet. And I love the fact that anything he said, he did in the ring. You know, if you're going to say, I'm gonna knock you out in 5 rounds, he knocked you out in 5 rounds. And he wasn't afraid to say it. And he also, he was also big on the political aspects. He believed in not going to war. He believed in the Muslim religion. And, he believed in people. He loved people as well.
I mean, he was a great ambassador for the sport. And he'll be remembered as much for what he said and all the good things. A bit like yourself, you'll be remembered for the boxing. And I know you've set up the Lennox Lewis League of Champions. Would you be able to tell us a bit about the work you're doing?
Yeah, just creating a couple camps for young kids, trying to create the next champions. I have friends in Canada that actually created basketball camps, Vince Carter basketball camps. And since he did that, 6 of his guys are in the NBA. And I'm like, that makes sense. So let me create some boxing camps for some young kids. And hopefully in the future we'll see some young champions. And they can say they went to the Lennox Lewis League of Champions boxing camp.
And moving on to the current heavyweight scene, it's fair to say that since the likes of yourself and Mike Tyson retired, that the heavyweight division perhaps diminished. Are we seeing now that it's improving drastically and it's getting better and as good as it has been in a long, long time?
It has, especially for British boxers and British heavyweights. I think, for me, I had to go across the water to face my nemesis, and my nemesis was like, Tyson, Holyfield, and other American heavyweights. But this era, the heavyweights are in England, so and the top 3 are in England, and they don't have to go too far. They don't have to go over to the water to find anybody. They're all over here.
I mean, in terms of the current champions, Wilder, Joshua, Fury, how do they rate in your book?
Well, I would have to rate Fury number 1 because he's the man that beat the man that beat the man that beat the man.
Yeah.
And then obviously Joshua is definitely up there. David Haye is up there. So they're all pretty close and not too far away from each other. So we should see some good fights in the future.
I mean, Joshua is starting to break ground in America now with Showtime Boxing. Who would you like to see him fight next?
I would love to see him box Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is the American star right now, so I'm sure the American fans want to see Deontay against a great heavyweight, and I think they're at the same level in experience, same level in skill, and power. So it would be a great matchup.
Do you perhaps see some of yourself in Joshua in terms of the colossal physique, boxing behind the jab and the offensive power? Do you see any similarities in his game to yours?
Not really. I would say, I'm a different type of fighter than him. He's definitely a powerhouse. He's got a great right hand. He's still developing his jab and, his skill. So I think it's too early to really compare him to anyone.
And David Haye, you touched upon, his next fight is Shannon Briggs. I'm aware you defeated a long time ago. Do you think David Haye should perhaps fight, fighters perhaps in their prime now? He's made a comeback in his, 2 wins. Do you think he needs to step his game up now?
Well, I think he's a very shrewd businessman. I think he knows what he wants to do, and I think that the Shannon Briggs fight, Shannon Briggs really talked himself into a fight. And David Haye basically said, okay. And I think a lot of people would want to see that fight. I think it'd be an interesting fight to watch. I would love to see it. But, after this one, I believe that he may have to step up.
MMA.
Love it. I'm a fan of MMA. I'm a fighter. Fighters love to see fights, and MMA fighting is like street fighting to a certain degree, but it's with skill. And I love watching it. I think Bellator is doing a great job. It's a great brand for MMA. I think the owners of Bellator are moving in the right direction, and they're thinking. They're guys that think ahead, because they basically signed 5 wrestlers, American top wrestlers, and they're going to teach them in the MMA style. And that's crazy. I asked them, well, why don't you get a boxer and teach him in the MMA? And they said, good idea. So
I didn't rule it out.
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to being in the fan zone at Bellator 158 this weekend? Obviously, you're going to be mixing it with the hardcore supporters of the sport.
Yeah, no, I'm looking, if anybody ever been to an MMA fight, if they haven't been to one, they should come to one. And here's their opportunity to come to one in the O2 on Saturday. It's going to be good. It's going to be great. There's some upcoming British stars that I was watching some video on, and they're pretty exciting. There's one guy that dances around.
MVP.
Yeah, he's gonna bring the crowd and some excitement to his fight. So I'm looking forward to seeing him.
It's always good to have big MMA shows on these shores over here. Did you catch the show on the weekend? The UFC 200. I know we're not really meant to be talking about UFC, but did you catch it by any chance?
No, I didn't see it.
Okay, too busy. It's part of a bigger weekend as well, isn't it? Seni, which is the combats and martial arts exhibition. I know you've got a bit of a background in martial arts. Tell me a bit about that and the importance of those kind of shows taking place here.
I think there's room for other fighting sports, and MMA is definitely making a big step towards gaining a lot of fan support, especially in Britain. And I think it's great for that fan that loves to see fights. They don't have to see boxing. They can always see MMA and different fighting sports that are coming around. But the biggest thing is the different stars that are coming out of the woodwork is great, especially in Britain. Everybody's looking at the boxers right now. Now there's a lot of good MMA stars that are coming out of the woodwork.
Thanks for your time, big man. Appreciate it.